pineapple. Looking very good, very nice. Good morning, 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 pineapple. Looking very good, very
Balls was too derogatory. They said big balls was too.
Okay. What is wrong with people? Good morning, pineapples. Looking very good and very nice. Especially Quest and Andy this morning. What's up? Daddy Warbucks? Daddy Warbuckses? Is it S-E-S or is it S apostrophe? Good morning, America. Welcome. Welcome. Freedom fighters, caffeine addicts. It's Thanksgiving week. We call it Black Friday week around our house because when you work in retail, when you own a little retail e-commerce website, Black Friday week is kind of like, you've got to do the whole get the turkey ready, get the mother-in-law from the airport, make sure the baby's got fresh diapers, / try and build an international e-commerce business on libertarian views, which are sadly not that popular in the world right now. Unless you're in Argentina, congratulations, you sons of bitches. Welcome to Wake Up America show, the one place where we talk about the real world the way real people live it. People like Stephen Rue, a little small town choir teacher from Ray Peck in the chat. What are the issues that Stephen Rue cares about? I have to sometimes get out of my little bubble that I live in sometimes. Think about what's going to impact people like Stephen, Cindy, their family. So I decided to just start off right off the bat with something that matters. The Thanksgiving miracle that the political class would like us to celebrate. Oh, let us give thanks for Nancy Pelosi and Zoran Mamdani and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Jasmine Crockett, for they have giveth us, and Donald Trump have given us such a miracle this year, a Thanksgiving miracle. God bless us, everyone. Donald Trump comes out saying that the groceries are finally getting cheaper. Victory. You know what, this year for Thanksgiving? Why not? Champagne. Dom Perignon, no problem, right, everybody? Drumsticks for everybody. God bless us, everyone. Except when you dig into the numbers, and while a promotional $4 a head turkey basket is nice, everything around us is still exploding. Veggie trays up 60%. Sweet potatoes up 37%. Soda up 15%. And they're buying it with Snap. And a brand new survey shows 79% of Americans have less than $1,000 set aside for the holidays and are about to take on new debt just to make Christmas happen. Don't.
Oh, God! No!
So, yes, turkey got a little bit cheaper, but you cannot fix 3 years of inflation with one PR basket and a roll of tin foil. Segment 2 today, the TPS bombshell and Minnesota's shadow economy. The story that blew up politics in Minnesota this week. Donald Trump says he's ending temporary protected status. What does that T stand for? Temporary protected status? Think about it. This is for Somali nationals. This was a status that was supposed to last months, not 34 years. And suddenly the Minnesota political machine activates like the sirens in Chernobyl. Meltdown, meltdown, meltdown. And here's the part they never want you to mention. Ending TPS is forcing attention on the largest welfare fraud ecosystem in modern American history. Billions of taxpayer dollars stolen through fake programs, fake autism clinics, because nobody's going to check there, fake housing services, and the $250 million Feeding Our Future scandal. If you haven't heard about this, we will get into it in just a minute. So federal investigators say much of this money was then pushed through the hawala networks where Al-Shabaab takes a cut, making Minnesota, as one counterterrorism official put it, the largest unintended funder of Al-Shabaab. So the largest funder of a terror group are Minnesota taxpayers. And the ISIS recruitment cases Minneapolis led the nation in, and you'll if you think about those, you're going to get a picture of what the media refuses to connect the dots about, which is that integration only works when a country still enforces its norms that it had before the integration took place. Minnesota didn't do that, and today we're going to break down exactly what that means. Amy J. Ease is here, Drew Van Runkle, Quest Fanning, and Ruby St. Selma, Cell Block, John and KC. Everybody, hang back. We haven't started the feasting quite yet, but feast your eyes on our 8 a.m. segment with Camellia, where we're going to talk about the Republican House majority. It looks like a sitcom waiting for a laugh track. Jake Sherman at Punchbowl News reports multiple GOP lawmakers are planning to retire midterm. And you know what I say? If you don't want to serve, you shouldn't be there. One senior Republican says the White House treats members like garbage, which on the one hand, I get it. On the other hand, get out. That Trump blocks basic wins and demoralized members believe they'll lose the majority before midterms. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's out in 42 days. She leads the way with this. And she dropped a manifesto saying Republicans are abandoning Trump's priorities. We're bringing in Camellia Peterson at 8 a.m. to figure out if the GOP is having a bad week or if this is a full-on governing collapse. Or is this just a media manufactured desire for your attention? And God bless it, do we podcasters need your attention? Click the like button if you haven't already and follow as well. They call that a call to action in the business. I'm asking you to step up. I need you to step up and get that Christmas shopping done right now. If you want to get any of the items at the forlibertyshop.com, the window starts to close in days. So if you want to get a nice sweet package for your loved one, I highly recommend that you visit forlibertyshop.com and hit up the Grift Shop and use that buy two, save 15 code, guys. You have no idea how much you can save. If you buy two or more of anything in the shop, you're going to get that 15% discount. If you buy two or more of any of the coffees, you're going to start, it will put the automatic coupon in your cart. You're going to see in your cart how much you're saving. So just go on over today, do a little shopping, browse around, throw some things in your cart, maybe do the spin to win on there with, John McClane and the Grinch. And buckle in. Elon Musk flipped a switch on X. Simple new feature about this account. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. I'm eager to interview Michael Hout from Town Hall and Liberty Affair. And we're going to talk to him about what this means for the people that you watch on places like Rumble and X and others. What this change means for election integrity, what it means for foreign policy, and whether or not the right-wing narrative has been shaped in recent years more than anyone realized by foreign powers. So that's the show. We'll talk about your wallet, talk about your country, talk about your Congress, talk about your internet. Let's get to it right now. Cheap turkeys, empty wallets. How are people feeling about Donald Trump these days? Let's ask his opponents.
So is the president losing Republicans?
No. Look, this is still Donald Trump's Republican Party. And
remember last week, the foreign trolls, the aforementioned foreign trolls were like, MAGA is dead. Hold on. Let me just roll that back for everybody in India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, China, Austria. Remember the Republicans Against Trump account came out and it was some dude from Austria. This was a huge account. Their lives are over. The illusion is shattered. How do Republicans feel about Trump?
So is the president losing Republicans?
No. Look, this is still Donald Trump's Republican Party, and we can see it here. It's like a rock, to
Welcome to the party, pal, as John McClane might say.
quote Bob Seger. I mean, take a look here. Republicans who approve of Trump. 6 months ago, it was 87%. Now, well, hello, it's the same number. It's 87%.
Hello.
He has not lost any support among Republicans compared to 6 months.
That's not the. I mean, Drew Van Ruckel's like, the base is called the base for a reason. I mean, the base is the base, and the base is base. It's the base of the base of the alternative. The alternate has a base, and the base of the alternate. It's 87%. That's more than the base.
Ago, as I said at the beginning, he's like a rock. He's like a rock. The Republicans.
Like a rock. Oh, did I ever feel like a rock? Man, that really makes me nostalgic for the Chevy from the 1980s and 90s. Remember those commercials? Like a rock.
Republican base is sticking by Donald Trump at this point in time.
It really is interesting to watch his overall approval rating go down, 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 but see this be completely constant here.
It is among independents. It is not among Republicans.
Okay, so how does this compare to past presidents in a second term?
Yeah, okay. I think this gives the game away, right? Which is Donald Trump, if you look at 21st century presidents, own party approval at this point in term 2. Who leads the pack? It's Donald John Trump. 87% of Republicans approve Donald John Trump. You go back to 2013, 78% of Democrats supported Barack Obama, and it was 78% of Republicans who supported George W. Bush back in 2005 at this point. So Donald Trump has the biggest own party, highest own party approval of any president who served their entire.
I mean, yeah, it's nice to have a president who doesn't completely suck. It's not to say that everything that Trump does is correct. People were at the other day on X were like, because I was praising Trump for some other thing that I thought he was doing good on. They were like, oh, I never see you criticize Trump. And I'm like, you fools. Don't you know how to use the social platforms that you're talking to me on over on X? Can't you just hit the grok button and find out? There's a whole record. It's all public record of everything I've ever said about Trump, going all the way back from 2015 all the way up to today. And you can find multiple times that I've criticized Trump. But when the man is right, the man is right. And many times the man is right. What am I supposed to do? Pretend like I disagree with regulation cuts? Pretend like I disagree with the overturning of Chevron? Pretend like I'm unhappy about when the Supreme Court takes a strong stance on a position that I fully agree with them on? Am I supposed to be unhappy about this? No. There's a reason why Donald Trump stands like a rock.
America, every one of them demands something different from their Chevy truck, but they all want the same thing. The most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road.
Yeah. Remember when America was populated with men? Does everybody remember those days? Like a rock. All right, so you can't fix a broken economy with a cheap turkey. We were told this week that groceries are getting cheaper. Some things are getting cheaper, but when you round it out for the other things that you bought, it isn't actually cheaper overall. You're spending the same amount of money. So Walmart's got this special deal, a Thanksgiving meal under $4 a person, right? It's the cheapest in years. A basket's so affordable, it practically begs you to do the patriotic thing and deep fry something, anything. Just get an American flag and deep fry it and fly it out on. Throw some Oreos in there. A cheap turkey is a blessing, however, right? When you got a little kid running around like my little baby Hazel, right? There's a cheap meal is a victory, right? I'm not knocking savings. I'm not one of those nothing is ever good enough prophets, right? I love a win, right? But the whole thing, right? When you looked at the whole thing, the announcement, the promotion, and here's the part nobody in politics wants to hear. It's a patch, not a cure, right? A headline, not a trend. One basket of food is not an index of actual economic health, because behind the headline is the real picture. It's sweet potatoes, 37%, soda up 15%. Yeah, people buy soda for the holidays, and not everybody does it on Snap. Every once in a while, I like to have a 160 calorie soda. What do you think I look like this for? I used to be pretty. So you can get your turkey for a steal, but if you want to pair it with anything grown from dirt or sweetened with sugar, suddenly you're paying a ransom. It's like the grocery stores telling you celebrate Thanksgiving, but do not get too ambitious, citizens, right? A new national survey shows 79% of Americans plan modest holiday spending this year. What are your thoughts? Are you spending modestly this holiday? Hope not. Not at the gift shop, please. Please. Can you bless me with something? Hey, did somebody go to the gift shop this morning? Oh, no, they didn't. That was Walton and Johnson. Whoops. You guys, we've got a special message for everybody who makes purchases at the gift shop this morning. If you make a purchase from the gift shop yesterday, Stephanie and I put together something really nice. It's just a fun little treat, a little helpful informational piece put together for anybody who makes a purchase at forlibertyshop.com. If you want to unlock the bonus content, we have to raise $100 on the show today. And it's super easy to do if a few people just head on over to forlibertyshop.com and check out all of the wonderful offerings that we have, especially for the Christmas season. We have a lot of really great gifts that I know anybody in your life is going to love. If you're not the only patriot in your family, or so the person who loves America, loves their country, and loves our foundation, I want you guys to check out the gift shop at forlibertyshop.com. That's the number 4, libertyshop.com. Check out the holiday collection. You can see on the front page the Martha's Mint coffee. It's such a treat, and it only is here for Christmas time. That's why Kermode, he stocks up on it every year. And we have an automatic discount for if you buy more than one box of coffee. Say you want to throw all of our founding flavors coffee in there, just get a whole big gift basket as a beautiful gift for your dad or your father-in-law or anybody who really loves coffee in your life. The Martha's Mint is truly exceptional coffee. And I tell you, when I started this brand about 2 years ago, I sat down and I went through all of these coffees and I tasted every single one of them with a little sample pack. And when I went through all of them, I decided which ones were my favorite. And I rejected lots and lots of coffee beans. And I chose these because they're the most delicious to me. And I chose them in order of deliciousness of my favorites, the founding fathers that were my favorite founding fathers. So when you drink Benjamin Franklin's Electric Elixir, it's truly spectacular. When you drink Jeffersonian Java, it is exquisite. When you drink Thomas's Painkiller, it is a fantastic Colombian single origin bean. It's coffee for people who love coffee, and we have a great sale going on. Dad Bod Baboon says Revere's Rebel Roast for the win. That also popular. Martha's Mint is a huge hit. So get it before it's gone. And when you go to the gift shop and when you make a purchase today, you're going to get an email with a special little message from us. And I know you will really appreciate that. So if you haven't bought from the shop, today's the first time. You should definitely do it. If you've bought from the shop before, you know the drill. So head on over to forlibertyshop.com. BB for Liberty says, Austin is picky. When we were filming Battle of Athens, I watched him spit out hotel coffee. It's true. I'm a snob. What can I say? I have standards. If you're not a coffee snob, if you don't care about what coffee you drink, I get it. If you drink the hotel coffee, it's some of you though this morning look like you're drinking something else. See, Andy Opperman knows what I'm talking about, and I know he's telling the truth. He says, I've been on a steady diet of Jeffersonian Java for almost as long as it has been available. Now I cannot stand most other coffees. It's true, bro. This is not marketing. It is marketing, but it's literally the truth. User-generated content is what they call this in the business, UGC. Andy will tell you, the Jeffersonian Java, it's our number one seller in the shop for a reason. Everybody loves it. It's a light roast, which means that it has more caffeine. I've learned so much about coffee since I started this brand. I never even knew so much, so many differences between beans, so many ways. You can change the flavor of coffee by how you grind the bean. Isn't that an unbelievable thought that just the way that you shape the bean in the off, you put it together, you grind it out, mill it out, and it's like, how does that change the flavor of it? I'm really excited for Joni Rankin to get her first cup of Mises' matcha. Did you guys see that we put a matcha, the Japanese matcha, ceremonial grade? This is just so beautiful. We have this gorgeous Mises' matcha Japanese green tea, even if you're just like a fan of Ludwig von Mises, maybe not a fan of green teas, but look at that beautiful Mises' matcha, ceremonial matcha. So Stephanie and I, we watched this whole video that explained to us the difference between ceremonial and typical ceremonial matcha, but the or typical matcha versus ceremonial matcha, and it's about how it's ground, and it's about the quality, and it's about what it's used for and how you make it. And so I mean, this is really for people, this is more exotic. This is the kind of thing that if I went to like the Hy-Vee here in Jefferson City and I tried to sell it to them, they would be like, "Excuse me, get out." I don't think that the Jefferson City crowd maybe is quite ready for the matcha. And it's kind of like the same thing. I went and I tried. I'm just going to go off on a little tangent here, guys. We'll get to the news in just a few minutes. We've got 2 guests. Don't worry. But when you talk about importing things to the United States, you know, we sell this across the country and around the world. We do have some people in Missouri who have tastes that are for things like matcha tea. But for the most part, if you went to like a roadside fair or some kind of like event, like carnival, state fair, probably would not sell a lot of matcha there. It's very earthy. It's very green. Some people say it tastes swampy. But the Japanese, they put it in everything. They make ice cream out of it, which is pretty good. You put a lot of sugar in it. Of course, it takes away that grass flavor. But it reminds me a little bit about my experience with Argentine mate, yerba mate. You guys remember when yerba mate was blowing up here on the Wake Up America show about a year and a half ago, when all of these Argentines started following me and sharing with me the stories of the yerba mate, which is their tea. And yerba mate is even less grassy than ceremonial matcha and matcha in general. So if you don't like Chinese green tea, for example, I know a lot of people who love green tea, and they like the Arizona green tea with tons and tons of sugar in it, which are, of course, absolutely delicious, and I love those as well. But can you drink on a hot day, or excuse me, on a cold day, can you drink a hot cup of Chinese green tea or matcha? I mean, and that's how you know you got strong balls. If you're a man in Missouri and you can drink on a cold day, a day like today, perhaps wind is blowing and the rain is coming and it's cold outside, can you drink a green tea? Could you drink a hot matcha with no sugar and sit back and be like, ah, yes, like a man? Or you could just get some coffee from Founding Flavors. So 52% of people who are looking at their holiday spending here are saying that they expect to go into debt, and that comes with a smiling Santa on the credit card bills. So, guys, go to fourlibershop.com and get your Mises' matcha. Go into debt if you have to. If you're already going to do it, it should be with me. Imagine if I had like great boobs and I was a really hot girl and I was saying stuff like that. People would just like, the dollar bills would just fly into this. We wouldn't have any problems with bonus content. Me, I have to beg. I have to sell products. And we're grateful for all of that you do for us, guys. Speaking of thankfulness, and since it's like holiday time anyway, and we're starting to slow down a little bit, I'll feel fine going off script and getting away from the topics here for just a minute. I just cannot thank most of you, almost all of you. And if you're watching us on Rumble at all, thank you. You guys, this has been an amazing year in our life, our first year of Hazel growing up. And obviously there's a lot of anxiety when you're a new parent the first year, trying to make sure that you're doing everything right. She bumps her head. Do we immediately go to the emergency room? And how do we deal with this? Call the mother-in-law and things. But of course, there's a lot of financial uncertainty in what it is that we do. And whether it's, buying Grover the Note President children's books or Founding Flavors coffee or, some AK-47 keychain or hoodie, you're like, Joel Leddamore's and Andy Opperman's, the Amy J. Easleys, the Johns and KC, the Drew Van Runkels, all of you guys, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Without you, there's no Austin and Steffi. There's no Wake Up America show. There's no Freedom Arcade. There's no Liberty Tonight. There's no Culturama. There's no ForLibertyNetwork.com. There's no For Liberty Shop. There's no Brad, full-time job for Brad. There's no part-time job for Colton. There's no Battle of Athens documentary. There's none of that stuff. It's you guys, this community, who's making it happen. It's about 50. That's about what we've estimated, is that it's about 50 people. Cecilia, of course, as well. It's about 50 people that are the hardcore fan base. And our goal in 2026 is to double it. And that is, we need 100 people. That's how you start a cult. You need 100 people. If everybody recruited one other person to be like you, to engage with this community, to become financial contributors, to become viewers, to become little Drew Van Runkels, then we'd have everything that we need. We'd have a successful network. It's all about micro influencers now. Now they're even talking about like nano influencers, and there is opportunity out there to be had. And if we all just pull together in the same direction at the same time, we can accomplish incredible things. Amy J. Easley says, I love this little community. I do too. Kermode Bear and his goats. So I'm thankful for you guys, because without the 50 hardcore of hardcores, we would be nothing. We wouldn't be here. And I'd be, I don't know, like cutting clips as an editor in Sarasota, Florida, and going to the beach every weekend. I can't quit you guys. Don't forget, if you do any shopping during the live stream this morning, it helps to unlock the bonus content. But also, we have a special message in the email that you get, your confirmation email. So make sure that you guys get your Christmas shopping out, done, and early at forlibertyshop.com. Every little purchase goes to unlock the $100 level, which is our mini documentary. And at the $150 level, we play the Great Grift Off Liberty Loot Live game show, where you guys win real prizes. And then at $200, I'll sing a Christmas carol, or maybe a turkey carol. And hopefully we will get Father Russell, who just followed us, become that member of the community. Good morning, Father. Cecilia says, this is a great community. You and Steffi are pretty awesome. So are you, Cecilia. Booty Sweat says, Sarasota's nice. Yes, it is. So, 'twas on the broad Atlantic, an equinoctial gale, when a fine young man fell overboard among the shark and whale. So, Donald Trump says TPS, temporary protected status for Somalis in Minnesota, should end. And the reaction in Minnesota was volcanic. The Star Tribune ran pieces on panic and fear. The AP warned about catastrophic consequences. Activist groups convened emergency press conferences at Carmel Mall. Politicians lined up to promise lawsuits and talk about how important Somali culture has been to the United States.
Somalis are not terrorizing this nation. We are helping it thrive. Somalis have always seen themselves as a fabric of this nation. So not only are we not going anywhere, we are not going to allow anybody to make us feel less Minnesotan or less American.
Please, Mr. Columbus, turn this ship around. The Somalians look menacing. They mean to stand their ground. So if they land here on the sand, they'll boil us pound for pound. Please, Mr. Columbus, turn this ship around. Good morning. All right, I'm chicken. So activist groups were gathering over the last few days, to denounce Donald Trump's announcement. The TPS. Let's talk about what it is. TPS stands for Temporary Protected Status. Temporary, meaning short term. Protected, meaning humanitarian. Status, meaning legal permission to remain during emergency. The Somali TPS designation began in the early 1990s during the Civil War. Reasonable at the time. A failed state, warlords, Al-Shabaab, not kebabs, total collapse. But that was 34 years ago, most of my life. At some point, a nation has to ask, is TPS really a humanitarian tool, or is it a permanent substitute for immigration law? Because if temporary status lasts 3 decades, that's not temporary. That's a loophole. So Trump's point, agree or disagree, is grounded in the basic principle that immigration policy should be made by Congress, not through endless emergency renewals. But the moment that we touch this story, we open the door to the actual reality that the press refuses to cover. And that is that Minnesota's political class has built an entire ecosystem around a program that was never designed to be permanent. This is not just about the heart of the tree, the trunk. It's about the branches that it has created as well. That it's like a vine choking out everything around it, sucking up cash like a vacuum cleaner. Here's where we blow the lid off. So this is under the watch of, thank God he was never our vice president, Tim Walz, and a deeply timid bureaucracy that brought this system of chaos and of welfarism and of fraud into the United States. A massive City Journal investigation published this week revealed that federal prosecutors have been whispering this privately for years, that Minnesota, under its current welfare architecture, became the largest unintended founder of Al-Shabaab, which is the Al-Qaeda-linked terrorist organization in East Africa. So not by ideology, not by conspiracy, but by fraud, remittances, and hawala networks that skim money on the way into Somalia. According to federal counterterrorism investigators, in the words of one source quoted in the Manhattan Institute report, the largest funder of Al-Shabaab is the Minnesota taxpayer. So think about that. Think about the insanity of that sentence. Not Qatar, not Iran, not a foreign charity front. Not a U.S. state budget is being siphoned into terrorist coffers because the political class was too afraid of being called a racist to enforce basic audit standards. Well, asking questions about where this money is going, that's racism. So let's get into the facts, the receipts, because they matter. Shelley Bell says, thank God knowledge is power. Now stop the bleeding. Let's start. Let's take a look at the wound. So, Housing Stabilization Services Fraud, HSS. This is the program that was supposed to help seniors, the disabled. Oh, are you against helping disabled people? Mentally ill, some of the most vulnerable in society. Projected cost, $2.6 million a year. Actual cost, under Tim Walz, in 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, it went from 21 million to 42 million to 74 million to $104 million. And in the first 6 months of this year, $61 million. So federal prosecutors said the vast majority of claims on this money were fraudulent. Federal prosecutors they smelled smoke, and there's fire. This is not excessive billing. This is not sloppiness. These are fictitious companies that are usually a little bit more than a rented strip mall mailbox. Good morning, pineapples. Looking very good and very nice. Racist, says Ike giving a shits. Racist. Don't forget, we have a special message for everybody who makes a purchase at the Grift Shop this morning. When you get your confirmation email, you'll see it. Do some shopping and bless us with something.
Can you bless me with something?
Multiple individuals have been indicted in Minnesota, many tied to coordinated networks. They were operating schemes stacked upon schemes, draining money that was meant for actual vulnerable Minnesotans. Feeding our future. This was a $250 million fraud, the largest COVID-era fraud in American history, was feeding our future. $250 million bucks. Daycare meal programs that never existed. Invoices for thousands of meals a day to addresses with no kitchens. Luxury cars. Properties in Kenya and Turkey. $1,000 a plate parties. 56 people have pled guilty so far. Federal law enforcement officials told investigators that many involved were connected socially, financially, or politically in Minneapolis's Somali diaspora. And here's the kicker. When Minnesota officials tried to scrutinize this program, Feeding Our Future sued the state for racism. Yeah. This is why people are tired of it. Fatigue. We are fatigued. The lawsuit intimidated the government into waving them through, and then fraud exploded. Case number 3, the autism therapy scam, $14 million. Fake diagnoses. How hard is it to diagnose somebody? Maybe they don't even exist. Diagnose a kid. How many kids do you have? 18? Oh, okay, well, they actually only had 17. Kickbacks to parents, $300 to $1,500 a child per month. Vast overbilling. Providers skyrocketed from 41 to 328 in 3 years. Autism providers. That they had an explosion of autism in Minneapolis. Where did it all come from? These are the kinds of statistics, by the way, that people, when they're talking about autism numbers, this is the kind of numbers that skew the statistics, and people are like, oh my God, there's been an explosion in autism. No, there's been an explosion in fraud. Amy J. Easley with the sarcasm says, this story doesn't matter. I want to hear more about Trump calling a reporter piggy. No. Quiet, piggy. I thought it was funny. I have no respect for journalists. As a journalist, I could say I don't respect myself. I have no self-respect. Just kidding. Did Somalians OD on Tylenol, says JJ4884? No. This was fraud. Let's be clear about this. These programs are industrial scale machinery for funneling money into networks that overlap with some hawala channels, Al-Shabaab taxes in Somalia. So the money comes in from the tax. The taxpayer earns it. You bust your ass all day. If you live in Minnesota or Minneapolis, you bust your ass all day so that your tax dollars can be taken, given to a non-autistic Somali person in Minneapolis. Then it's sent back over to Africa, and that money is then siphoned off to all hawala channels, to the Al-Shabaab, Al-Qaeda terrorist network. The people who chop off your head if they thought you were a Christian. The amount of Christian slaughter happening in Africa right now, another story that people are far underreporting. But this fraud, this autism case, they discovered 1 in 16 Somali 4-year-olds in Minnesota had been diagnosed with autism, more than triple the state average. A statistical impossibility. 1 in 16 Somali 4-year-olds, triple the state average. And you couldn't ask a question because otherwise you would be sued for racism. This fraud was committed by individuals and networks. The political silence was enforced by a climate where any attempt to investigate or enforce standards was framed as racism. This isn't about blood or ancestry. This is about governance failure, because if our own governance had not left this temporary program in place, if people like Tim Walz had not betrayed the voters of their state and the people of the United States by funding these terror networks and not questioning what's going on, because let's be honest, a lot of the state taxpayer dollars that come into these states comes from the federal government as well. But they have endangered our national security with this. The Minneapolis field office has been dealing with these radicalization cases for 15 years. In 2015, a Homeland Security report found that Minnesota produced nearly half of all Americans who joined or attempted to join ISIS. Young men were recruited through online channels, peer networks, in-person Somalia diaspora connections to relatives in Somalia. Every scrap of economic activity sent from Minnesota to Somalia results in a cut being taken by terror groups. So not because the senders per se, they aren't even necessarily trying to support terror. They think that they're sending money back to their relatives, some of them, and it's getting siphoned off, right? The senders, some of them are doing so with the best of intentions. Some of them are not. When you have massive welfare fraud plus massive remittances, weak oversight, a terror taxing group, then you have a national security problem that has been created by failed integration of this community and failed political courage to take them on and say, listen, call me racist, call me whatever you want. Just don't call me late for our court case. I'll be there and I will sue your asses off for this fraud perpetrated on the people of Minnesota and the people of the United States. America has imported massive groups before, right? The Irish in the 1840s, the Germans in the 1850s, the Italians in the 1890s, the Eastern Europeans in the early 1900s, the Cubans in the 1960s, and every one of those groups produced crime rings, radical politics, corruption networks, or parallel economies during their early years. Tammany Hall, Irish. Mafia, Italian. Chicago's anarchists, German. Early communist cells, Eastern European. Integration only works when the host nation enforces its standards, when the government ensures that immigrant groups do not take advantage of the American system in a way that negatively benefits the people who have built that system. When law, not guilt, governs, when crime is punished, when fraud is rooted out, when loyalty is expected, not negotiated. Minnesota did the opposite. It refused to enforce integration norms. It feared accusations. It let Klan networks replace American civic structures. And now its welfare system, its political class, and its federal investigators, we have to pay the price of all the lawsuits for all this to go on to clean this system up. Trump's TPS reset is the first time in decades anyone has meaningfully joined the conversation in opposition. So should America run immigration based on fear of being called racist? Is this what we're supposed to put up with, right? Or should it be based on our sovereignty, our security, and honesty? So hard truth, no hate, all facts. Nathan EC says, stop being soft on the low-level components. They know they are lying to steal. Yeah, many of them are, for sure. And they certainly should face the American criminal justice system as such. But many of them, I think, Nathan, and this is going to sound quite elitist and perhaps quite supremacist of me, but they really are not high IQ enough to know any better. It's like going to the island. Many of these people, they come from a place, it's the land that God forgot. They come into the United States. They're brought here, many of them, by their family members, and they have no idea what is expected of them in American culture. And so there's no chance for assimilation because they never really come much into contact outside of the community. They stay within those communities there. And it's really hard for the actual refugees, for people who didn't have a choice in coming here, if they were brought here by their parents or their families or what have you. It's less likely that they are fraudsters themselves than they are necessarily victims also of fraud. But being in a scenario where they've never had to come into contact with American culture and how we like things run in the United States, they just engage in the same fraud-based systems that they have back home if they're not taught. So the question is there, how do you integrate them? So if you look at the Irish, the way to integrate the Irish, from my understanding of history, was that the Irish became cops. The Irish became officials. The Irish joined the military. The Irish We have only lived in a time when it was normal to look at Irish people as integrated Americans. But believe me when I tell you that there was a time when Irish people were looked at as below blacks in the American social caste. It was a brief amount of time, but it was an important period in American history when the Irish were a subculture within the United States. They still are a subculture, but the Irish came and gave Americans, I will say it is likely a majority of American slang is Irish. I could do a quick little grok search on this and see. Because when I read a book about this, I read books about weird stuff, but when I read a book about Irish slang and its contributions to American dialects, it was a shocking amount of Irish slang. Give me a good list of Irish words that became modern American slang. A full page's worth and some good fun and funny examples. Thank you to Super Grok. Elon Musk's AI is the fastest of all of them. If you guys have not joined my AI class, you're missing out on a huge opportunity there. Today's a great day to go to forlibertyshop.com, sign up for my AI for Creators course. It's way down on the front page, but if you go to forlibertyshop.com, you'll see my creators class where I teach you secrets like those. Here's a solid, fun list of Gaelic words that snuck across the Atlantic. Smithereens, the original Irish Gaelic, smithereeny, literal Irish meaning, little bits or pieces, blown to smithereens. The Irish loved blowing things up, politically and metaphorically. Americans kept the dramatic flair. I dropped my phone, now in smithereens. Galore, the original Irish Gaelic was go leor. The literal Irish meaning is to sufficiency. Literally, enough and more now means tons of. Free beer galore at Patty's wedding. Oh, says I. Slew, slews. A large number, crowd, a slew of people showed up. Hooligan. Oh, Chayan. A rowdy family name. The Hooligan clan in London in the 1890s were legendary troublemakers. Now every drunk frat boy is a hooligan. Shanty. See, the old Irish immigrants threw up quick wooden shacks. Shanties. Eventually, shanty towns. Bonus. Sea shanty songs the Irish sailors sang. Kibosh. Put a kibosh on there. You put the kibosh on something. Putting the black cap on a condemned man in old Irish courts. Put the kibosh on that party. The cops are coming. Whiskey, of course. Whiskey River, take my mind. Don't let a memory torture me. Whiskey River, don't run dry. Was he Irish? Probably not. Urshabeta. That's whiskey. Urshabeta in Gaelic. Water of life. Of course. Ishkabeha. Americans heard whiskey and ran with it. Still the number one Irish export to American bars. Ishkabeha. Whiskey. How did you get that from Ishkabeha? Ishkabeha. Slogan. So we're talking about Irish slang here. Slagarm. War cry, army shout. Irish clans had battle cries. British borrowed it. Now every marketing team has a slogan. Swell. Soaline in Gaelic. Fine, beautiful. Irish immigrants used swell as high praise. 1920s Americans turned it into, that's swell. Phony. You're a phony. You're cheap brass sold by conmen. Irish tinkers sold fake gold rings. Fanny. That's a funny ring. That's funny. Funny. Sounds like funny. Isn't this funny? You didn't know how much of your language was Irish. I see they integrated. Then took over. Those damn Irish taking over. Irish Catholics coming in to our British Protestant nation. I'm an ethnic American, and I'll tell you. It's when those Germans came in the 1850s that things really got messed up. Shebang, which used to be shebeen, which was an illegal drinking den. The whole shebang started as the whole illegal bar and everything in it. The cops raided the entire shebang. Are we enjoying this, or are we ready for Camellia Peterson? Camellia, she'll be here in less than 10 minutes, guys. You must bless me with
Can
something.
you bless me with something?
Oh, gosh.
Oh gosh.
Money-wise.
Please.
Can you suck it?
Squeeze me?
What?
Good morning, pineapples. Looking very good and very nice. Visit forlibertyshop.com this morning. We've got a special message for everybody who makes a purchase in the shop today. If we raise $100, then we will unlock today's mini documentary that I have produced for you, our 5-minute bonus content. It's available to watch instead of commercials. And wouldn't that be so much more fun than Camellia Peterson having to come and get on the show during the commercial break, and it's all these commercials and they're not fun. Like, well, they are sort of fun, but they're not as fun as our 5-minute mini documentary. It's way more fun. I'm an ethnic American, posts from Pakistan. Go to Boston and make fun of them, AP, and see what happens. LOL. I don't think so. ForLibertyShop.com is your one-stop shop for patriotic holiday shopping. If you go to ForLibertyShop.com, we've got incredible sales going on right now. Can you believe Amy J. Easley was the first person to buy the Join or Die embroidered sweatshirt? And now look at her. She's famous. Fantastic embroidered Join or Die sweatshirt. You can still get that in time for Christmas, but not for long. But not for long. At forlibertyshop.com, you can find incredible patriotic products. Join or Die woven throw blanket. You can find beautiful patriotic mom crewneck sweatshirts with a gorgeous embroidery of beautiful American patriotic symbols. What about for the lady in your life that you want to buy for? What about our gorgeous engraved natural stone Freedom Amazonite beaded bracelets? Aren't they pretty? Wouldn't you like to get one? Or would you get one for the lady in your life, the engraved natural stone stretch bar bracelet, inspirational beaded bracelet from forlibertyshop.com? What a reasonable price. That includes shipping. You don't have to worry about the costs on top of that. If you buy two, use the code BUY2. Save 15, and you will save 15% on anything in the store. If you go to forlibertyshop.com, use the code BUY2, save 15. Grab a couple of earrings, We the People earrings. Gadsden earrings. Where can you find that earring collection? Well, if you visit our holiday collection, you can click here on the Less Government, More Cookies class. Ooh, look at this. You've got the 12 days of Christmas, presents that you can open. Go to the holiday collection and check out what the 12 days of Christmas has to show. Don't tread on me snake earrings, Donald Trump earrings, ice cream earrings, wooden American flag earrings. They are so highly rated that look at the 5-star reviews on these things. 5-star, 5-star, 5-star. Rosie the Riveter earrings. You won't find these anywhere else. ForLibertyShop.com. Get those shopping sales in today, guys. And we will go to, somebody just did it. Oh, we just got our first Bitcoin donation. All right. Way to go, dudes. I don't know how much I don't know what the fractions are these things mean. So 0.0000018, something like that. I have no idea what it means, but it's coming in and I will calculate it. If it means somehow that we're over $100 for the bonus content, I will add it up for you guys during the break, and then I will unleash the bonus content if we have it. Otherwise, it's commercials for you until you bless me with something, and we'll be right back. I will bless you with something, and that's Camellia Peterson. It's the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network. Don't go away.
Are you tired of the strange radioactive effects of leftist culture? Do you ever wonder what happened to good old-fashioned American values? Well, fear no more, because there's a new force fighting back against the cultural rot of today. Introducing Culturama, a right-of-center talk show that's taking back the future today. Hosted by none other than blonde bombshell herself, Daniela Pensack. She's not just talking, she's taking culture back. With sharp takes, brilliant guests, and a few surprises along the way. Tune in to the live video podcast twice a week, because the future doesn't have to be weird. It can be Culturama.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun.
I think that at the heart of my philosophy is much more libertarianism than well, that's the fashionable word these days, I guess. A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian and always has been.
Yet any time you and I question the schemes of the do-gooders, we're denounced as being against their humanitarian goals. They say we're always against things, we're never for anything.
What is fascism? Fascism is private ownership, private enterprise, but total government control and regulation.
Well, the trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant. It's just that they know so much that isn't so. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
Conservative, so-called, is the one that says less government, get off my back, get out of my pocket, and let me have more control of my own destiny.
Do you hate the deep state? Do you reject the Antichrist in all his ways? Do you believe that aliens controlled LBJ to assassinate John F. Kennedy? Did you know that the shot...
It's 1776. Thomas Jefferson is hunched over his desk at Monticello, ink-stained fingers, writing the most radical document in human history. Do you really think he was sipping Starbucks? No. He was drinking something bold, something black, something brewed strong enough to fuel a revolution. That's the spirit behind Founding Flavors, our signature line of liberty-fueled coffee. No soy froth, no climate guilt, no corporate slogans. Just real coffee, inspired by the men who wrote freedom into existence. Every cup is a quiet protest. Against mediocrity, against tyranny, against bad coffee. So this morning, skip the globalist brew. Grab something worthy of a free man's
One of the
sunrise.
things we have to correct in America is people should not have to feel bad about living in any part of the country where their politics isn't the majority. And that works both ways.
I agree.
Like, you didn't feel comfortable there, and that's wrong. And look, I never stop ragging on liberals and woke people, not liberals. I'm a liberal. These people are different. For just being fucking snobs. This is the I won't eat with you at Thanksgiving people. This is the no contact thing. But, you know, lots of liberals wouldn't be comfortable at a NASCAR rally either. I mean, there are places where But I will say, and this is something I'm going to say Friday night, the liberals are worse about this. I will admit it, and we have to look in the mirror on that one. We are just worse at the snobby thing, at the, I don't know any conservatives who don't at least talk.
Right.
You know? Now, maybe that's because you won. Maybe that's because it's easy.
There was a time where we didn't.
And you still came. It's true.
Yes, there was a time we didn't.
They're happy warriors. I remember that term when I was a kid. Like, that was somebody who was like...
That's what they call me, a happy warrior. I'm AP for Liberty. I'm Austin Peterson. My last name is spelled S-E-N. My next guest, S-O-N. We are of no relation. Good morning, Camellia.
Good morning.
So are liberals more snobby? They talk less. Conservatives, they show up, they talk, but they have less to say. What do you think? What do you say?
I mean, I think if you're talking in broad, general, sweeping strokes, that's probably true as a general rule. There are certainly a lot of variations when it comes down to individual people, in my own experience.
Yes, true. The Republican Party in the House of Representatives, they're having a full-on morale meltdown. The evidence is breaking out in ways we haven't seen since like Boehner, Cantor, Ryan years. So according to a report this last weekend from Jake Sherman at Punchbowl News, several GOP members are quietly preparing to retire midterm, and one senior Republican delivered a blistering assessment of the current climate. This White House, they say, treats House members like garbage, and also, they blocks even routine wins. Not good. And has managed to alienate appropriators, authorizers, hawks, doves, and the rank and file. Internal confidence is so low that members believe they will lose the majority before the midterms even arrive. And Speaker Mike Johnson is widely viewed as allowing this breakdown because it consolidates control for the White House team rather than empowering the conference. So, and all this happened in the background of Marjorie Taylor Greene quitting as well. So, on the one hand, I guess I understand, Camellia, why they would feel this way. But on the other hand, tell them to, it's finally somebody's telling this carnival of clowns off to their faces. It's there's glory and there's, I don't know, what's the opposite of glory? Defeat, destruction. I don't know. How do you feel about this story, Camellia?
I mean, I think it speaks to where we're at. And I also think it speaks to the ongoing just travesty of the rhetoric, the inability for the White House to control the narrative that comes out of their administration. Like, it's a mess. And I think that this is part of it, and part of the fallout of that. And so, in the background, I think behind the scenes, I don't doubt, these reports at all, because we've clearly seen, like, you toe the line, or, you get excoriated and treated badly, because it is like, we don't do professionalism, right? We're way, 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 way far beyond that. And so I know that some people like that. I think there are a lot of people who it's getting a little old, because what does it accomplish, I guess, in the end? And the truth is I think a lot of people think that this is going to accomplish us losing in 2026. I mean, it's already kind of, that's the thing that happens, is the majority party will lose in the midterms, right? But you can certainly compound that and make it worse, and I think that's what they're on track to do. And so I think when you hear things like this, and I don't think this is just MTG, right? I do. It's easy to see that this is, not just isolated to her. However, when you have things like the new Department of War, the newly named Department of War coming out, and they're going after Senators Mark Kelly, right? I think I have his name right. Anyway, things like that I think are, are they rah, we should do that, go after, well, okay, yes, Camellia, but also...
Camellia, are you turning into some kind of libturd or something like that?
I know, right? No, I just don't want to, I don't want to, I mean, it is like you can senselessly shoot yourself in the foot and make the conditions more likely that you will move people in the middle to the other side because they don't like what you're doing and they see it as undermining the very foundations of the country. Whether or not that's accurate is irrelevant. The perception is what matters. And so when you have the different agencies, shit posting on Twitter,
Yeah,
I mean, like
yeah.
they're not helping
but I mean,
themselves.
Well, maybe not. But I mean, who are the type of people who are going to read a message like that anyway? I mean, I played a clip a little bit earlier. CNN reported Trump's popularity with Republicans 87%. Guess how popular Congress is? They're not popular. Nobody likes them. And people do like Trump. The Republican Party is pretty happy with Trump. There's a lot of things about Trump. You know, we probably have a lot of the same gripes. But I feel like there's there's such a strong pill that is of black in color, Los Negros, frijoles, that you miss sometimes forest for the trees when it comes to the wins that he has. It doesn't have to make sense that he is so protectionist on one hand, and then on the other hand grants free trade to Argentina. It doesn't have to make sense because the chaos is kind of the point. That's sort of why we elected him, was to move fast and break things. Now, the move fast and break things was supposed to be the mission of Elon Musk and Doge. We know very intimately the true story of that institution, that storied institution for which I sold a lot of T-shirts. So at least it helped my economy. But misreporting, Reuters news reports, which, by the way, I believe that Reuters and Associated Press and the BBC are all bullshit fake news, including USA Today. However, Reuters reported that Doge was dead, and then the official Doge account tweeted, "I'm not dead yet." So what's true? What do we believe?
Well, I went digging for that too, because I was seeing all of these reports. And the thing is I think the actual truth is a little mixed. I think, did they dissolve the official, so to speak, Doge department or whatever, as a central, just organization itself? Yes. However, I think some of the people that were involved in that are now reportedly embedded in the various agencies. This is where I think when we talk about messaging and the narrative, like some of this stuff gets so lost, and these are things that people really need to hear what's actually happening with. And the administration has control over that. Like they could be setting the narrative on this. But I don't know, like it's the Doge topic, boy, it's tough. Like I don't blame Elon for leaving. When you look up the effects that Doge has actually had and what they've saved or not, you get a lot of really conflicting stories on it. And I don't think that there's been anything massive that anyone can point to. And realistically speaking, were we going to get that? I don't know. I think that's really, when you're talking about draining the swamp, it's easy to say, it's not so easy to do. It's just, we experienced that here in the state as well. It's easy to say, oh, we need to have our own Doge here in Missouri, and we need to cut spending and do this and do that. But then when you look at the vast percentage of your budget that's made up of entitlements, nobody wants to say, I'm going to cut Medicaid, I'm going to cut food stamps.
Trump doesn't say that kind of stuff, really. Yeah.
Right. It makes it very, very difficult to make any kind of significant change, because we're just so structurally just tied into this bureaucracy that it's really hard to undo it.
Yeah, civil service reform, it's a big challenge. And the fight between Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy for the future of Doge really may have been the canary in the coal mine, because when Vivek left, it was ostensibly over the issues of how Doge should be handled in the administration, and also what Vivek Ramaswamy had tweeted over Christmas break last year that has him in so much hot water with groypers and the right-wing nationalists. So
did you see, by the way, the Vivek's tweet about, I didn't get to watch the video clip of his speech that was with it, but basically he was saying that, this is not about owning the libs anymore. We need to move past owning the libs and get to like the real down-to-earth practical problems of the country. I think this is where the distinction is, and he has gotten that for a very long time when others did not seem to.
Yeah, well, two things can be true at once, and we can own the libs and win the economic message as well. But the question is what state will the economy be by the time the midterms roll around next year? Right. Because that is really going to be the question. And if any, I know that they criticize Trump for flip-flopping or whatever, But I see it as when you run into a brick wall, you got to stop. This is a conversation Stephanie and Brad and I have here when we're talking about just our business processes, is that sometimes we run into a task, and it's not that it's an impossible task. It's that the amount of time and energy that you would have to spend right now, it forces you into triage. You have to determine what is really the most important thing to do at this moment. And at this moment, putting more upward pressure on prices is not the right move. But the fact that Trump pivots on this, I find that to be a strength. Now, would a younger, more fiery libertarian, maybe more naive Austin, 18 years ago or 17 or 15 or 14 or even like 10 years ago, perhaps raged at what I'm saying right now? Probably. But as I grow to middle age and I start to cool my head and I think about things a little bit more clearly, there's a predictability to Trump's unpredictability. And Congress, who many of them saying that they're heading for the door in droves, they don't seem to be able to understand this. Some of them, these people are never Trumpers, for example. They never got or understood Trump. Even Thomas Massey used to I remember when Thomas Massey was posting saying, I would like to follow some accounts that don't have Trump derangement syndrome. But Massey is starting to he's starting to catch the fever, right? Maybe they're passing out black pills around the liberty movement these days. But Marjorie Taylor Greene took the whole bottle and fled for the exits. I guess I don't know that there's always a lot of courage in stepping aside. If you care so much about getting justice for the child traffickers, if you care so much about serving and representing the people, then why should the president of the United States' opinion color your decision to decide to serve? So I'm a little, I don't know, jaundiced on Marjorie Taylor Greene's exit. When I hear reports about Congress who are wildly unpopular heading for the exits, I can't say I don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you, as they say. Camelia, your thoughts?
So when we elect people, I think there are three different types, I guess, of politicians that you put into office. One are the Thomas Masseys that where they stand, what their principles are, that they are not going to budge from those. The others are, very similar, but they are also willing to be pragmatic and to take some compromise in order to move the ball down the field. And then the third category are the people who don't really have any foundational principles, and you get them to do what you want them to do by pressure. And those people can be useful as well. They're not our ideal, but you know what? If they're not going to stand for the right things, then I want to be able to push them to do the right things. So I think Trump falls into that third category. That probably makes some people mad, but I don't think that he has these, foundational principles that he adheres to when it comes to political philosophy. So I do think that, he does have some of his own ideas, like clearly the tariffs is one thing, right, that he feels very strongly about. However, I do think that he can be pressured into changing or pivoting, like you said, with the tariffs. And I think it takes a lot. I think it takes a lot of backlash and clearly seeing that this is not going to fly well with the public, because at some point you're at risk of losing your base. That said, he's not always concerned about it. The H-1B.
Well,
but
yes, he's also doing some really important good things for our society. We just got done talking about the massive fraud coming out of the Somali community in Minnesota and Minneapolis. I don't know if you've paid much attention, but hundreds of millions of dollars of Minnesota taxpayer dollars. The number one funder of Al-Shabaab terror groups in East Africa is Minnesota taxpayers. And the thing was that for years, I think people don't, because we look at policies, we're wonkish people. We're looking at laws and seeing what laws they're passing, what votes they're taking on these laws. But you can't underestimate the cultural impact of Donald Trump and the courage that he gave people to speak up for fears of racism. The reason why the hundreds of millions of dollars of fraud in Minneapolis was allowed to go on for so long is because people were afraid. They were getting sued by the Somali community for being racist, for wanting to take away taxpayer dollars because they were setting up these fake autism clinics. This amount of fraud that goes on, the biggest COVID-19 fraud was in the Somali community of Minneapolis, Minnesota, and nobody had the balls to push back on it. So can you give Trump that cultural victory here? I know you're not a video gamer, but in civilization, one of the ways that you can win civilization is through a cultural victory. Your thoughts?
No, I do think that has been one of his strengths. And I think that, as we needed a disruption, we needed a disruptor, right, to knock us, like to break the door open to making progress, because we were stuck. And so, as far as, when you the effects of feminism and DEI and all of these things that were just like, it felt overwhelming from the left in terms of what were really racist. It was racism from the other side, right? And so it wasn't that racism went away, it was just that it was shifted. So I do think that we needed something to kind of break the mold and give us a chance to go in the other direction. And I think that he served that purpose. Do I think that that's sustainable long term? No, I mean, I don't think that anything like that is sustainable, but, you do need something in order to break the cycle of what is happening. So yes, in terms of the cultural aspect, I think that's very true.
I'm looking at Elon Musk tweeting 30 minutes ago. It's 8:18 Central in Jefferson City, Missouri. He says Reuters lies relentlessly. He retweeted the Doge post about the fake news from Reuters. Everybody just ran with that story. It wasn't like people questioned it. If it came from Reuters, people reported on it. The trust in the media has hit a historic low. I think Trump has also contributed to that. And it's probably a good thing because Camelia, and we still struggle from this. We're about to pivot. Michael Hout is going to join us live here in just a few minutes to talk about the uncovering of all the trolls on Twitter and the foreign actors. But we can't even trust the legacy media here in the United States. And I think that more people are waking up to that. And frankly, that needed to be done. It's not nearly as much as it needs to be. If you've been on Facebook, you see that the boomers are still booming. But more people are realizing that when they grab a copy of USA Today, this may or may not be actual news, right?
Yes. And I will say, when Elon said, you are the media now, I think a requirement of this digital age for all of us is that we be much more skeptical and discerning. And I don't think that is I don't know. I think the masses of humanity do not naturally tend toward that. You know what I'm saying?
No, we love to believe. We yearn to believe. We want to believe the stories are true.
So even with the you are the media, like we still, it's not like, okay, so the old face of tyranny becomes the new face, right?
Yeah.
Because like the old media is gone, but then, the new media eventually becomes the old media. The new media is all of these influencers and people who are reporting news online. And you still have to be so discerning because even with all of the country of origin things, which has been delightful to watch, there are still the influencers who are from the United States and they're on the right. Like you still have to watch those because they are still so self-serving and they are going to do whatever gets them the clicks and they're being paid to do. And so like that is kind of the name of the game now is that it's like advertising. If you want somebody to be pushing your point of view or your narrative, it's just like advertising. You pay these influencers to put out content. Like I don't know that there's anything wrong with that.
I need to come up with they're trying to assassinate me conspiracy theory, like Candace Owens. I need to which government do you think would try and kill me? Somali. Okay. There it is. It's the Somalians after my report today.
Who hates Argentina the most?
Who hates Argentina, actually? Let's see. Chile? I have no idea. Brazil? Venezuela. There we go.
Venezuela.
It's Hugo Chavez wants to kill me because I've been saying nice things about Marco Rubio lately.
There you go.
Camelia, is there anything that you would like to share with our audience? The floor is yours. Hundreds of people are tuning in live. They want to hear your words. Tell us where they can find you online and what are you working on and what are you having for Thanksgiving dinner?
Okay, so you can find me at Rare Camellia on X. That's my favorite platform, somewhat. But I will say that, in spite of all of the seemingly black-pilled on the national level stuff, my hope lies at the state level, and I am very white-pilled when it comes to what is happening in Missouri. That's what I spend, the mass majority of my time on, and so I think we are going to accomplish great things, eliminating the income tax and a lot of other great things in this coming year. We got a lot of great things done in this last session. So there is hope, and it is at the local level, which is where your focus needs to be. And as for what I'm having for Thanksgiving dinner, so we're doing a little experiment this year, and I am testing how long you can have turkeys in the chest freezer and they still be good. And ChatGPT and I had a conversation about this, and so I am told that I'm probably good to go, but it's been in the freezer since 2019. But I am gonna brine it, and I am gonna spatchcock it, and I bet it's gonna be great.
Awesome. That sounds great. Well, if you're in Southwest Missouri, you better be looking for an invitation to Rare Camellia's house. Camellia, thanks so much for all that you do for Liberty, and we are grateful for you. Everybody say thank you to Camellia. She is here Tuesdays, Thursdays, 8 a.m. Central, and she has been for 3 years, and she'll be here the next 3 years, I would guess. Camellia, have a wonderful day, and happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
We cannot incarcerate our way out of violence. We've already tried that, and we've ended up with the largest prison population in the world without solving the problems of crime and violence. The addiction on jails and incarceration in this country, we have moved past that. It is racist, it is immoral, it is unholy, and it is not the way to
there we go. We're always racists. St. Selma this morning says that she's enjoying her first mug of freshly ground Adams Patriotic Perk this morning. Delicious. Let me tell you something about Adams's Patriotic Perk. If you go to forlibertyshop.com this morning, and we are on the way to unlocking the bonus content, but I'm a little nervous. We might not get there, but we are getting there if we buy a couple more boxes of coffee at forlibertyshop.com. Head on over and click on our Founding Flavors coffee collection. Click Shop Now. And when you come over here, you're going to see our Black Friday special. We started early. The Founding Flavors, buy 2 boxes, save 3. 3 boxes, save 7. 4 boxes, save 12. Don't you love how I use AI to make beautiful little images, patriotic images? The Adams' Patriotic Perk. Do not sleep on John Adams, third president of the United States, excuse me. Adams' Patriotic Perk, Founding Flavors coffee. I forgot about the little spat in between with Jefferson and Adams. Thomas Jefferson, delicious. But the thing about the Adams' Patriotic Perk is this is what you want to use for your espressos. Is the Revere Rebel Roast a delicious dark roast? Yes. Is Adams' Patriotic Perk top notch for your espresso? Yes. If you're like me, I have an espresso machine these days. I used to be just like drink regular coffee from a thermos guy, but now I need like nitroglycerin. So I've got to have espresso. Adams' Patriotic Perk is a delicious coffee you can drink and enjoy anytime. But if you are looking for an espresso, highly recommend that you try Adams' Patriotic Perk. Now, buy more than one and save. And if you are looking for, these things sell like crazy too, and we sell them to people who are, we sell them pretty much at cost so that people who have a Keurig and want to enjoy our coffee can enjoy it with these little K-cup filters. And people, for some reason, love the hell out of these. With good quality, love the scoop, well worth it. Anonymous, Crystal, these are people who we have no idea who they are. They just freaking love this. So while you're there, guys, toss in a victim of public education mug, or Judge Knapp, The Cure for 1984 is 1776. Abolish the Fed and abolish the ATF mugs. All kinds of patriotic presents you can get at forlibertyshop.com. And your purchases during the live show go to unlock the bonus content, which is a 5-minute mini documentary, which we won't be able to see now because it's time for us to go get Michael Hout. Don't go away. Stay like a rock. It's the Wake Up America show. We're going to talk to Michael Hout about all those foreign trolls that were uncovered on X. It's the Wake Up America show, and you're watching the 4 Liberty Network. Don't go away.
Picture this. It's 1776. Thomas Jefferson is hunched over his desk at Monticello, ink-stained fingers, writing the most radical document in human history. Do you really think he was sipping Starbucks? No. He was drinking something bold, something black, something brewed strong enough to fuel a revolution. That's the spirit behind Founding Flavors, our signature line of liberty-fueled coffee. No soy froth, no climate guilt, no corporate slogans. Just real coffee, inspired by the men who wrote freedom into existence. Every cup is a quiet protest. Against mediocrity, against tyranny, against bad coffee. So this morning, skip the globalist brew. Grab something worthy of a free man's sunrise. Founding Flavors. Now brewing at forlibertyshop.com. Imagine bringing George Washington back to life. Just to explain that in 2025, men can get pregnant, waving an American flag might offend someone, and our government is $34 trillion in debt. But that's not all, George. We have drag queen story hour for toddlers. Pronouns are mandatory. And Harvard can't define woman. Oh. And we send billions to Ukraine but can't fix potholes in Ohio. You know, just normal modern empire stuff. I'm sure he'd be totally cool with it. Right after he finishes reloading. He didn't cross the Delaware for this nonsense, but you can carry on the fight with gear that would have made King George cry. Shop bold, shop free, shop forlibertyshop.com. Legend has it, back in 1773, a band of angry, overtaxed patriots stormed a British ship, found the king's favorite tea, and said, "This would taste better without the tyranny." Then they tossed it overboard. Fast forward to today. That revolutionary spirit lives on in Boston Harbor Black, the boldest brew in the 4 Liberty tea lineup. It's dark, it's smooth, it's unapologetically American, just like the folks who drink it. Whether you're sweetening it up on the front porch or drinking it straight like a Minuteman before battle, this isn't tea for royalty, it's tea for rebels. No fake flavors, no corporate slogans, just a cold glass of Don't Tread on Me in liquid form. So skip the woke iced tea aisle and stock up on Boston Harbor Black at forlibertyshop.com. Because when the heat's rising, the least you can do is drink like a patriot.
Welcome back to the Wake Up America show. I am your host, Austin Peterson. We're glad and thankful to have you here. Happy Thanksgiving week. We are thankful that you are here. I'd be so thankful if you would click the like button, and thankful if today's the first time that you're watching the show that you click the follow button as well. For years, the concern has been lurking. Foreign actors operating inside U.S. digital politics disguised as American patriots. Well, this last weekend, Elon Musk's platform, X, rolled out a feature called About This Account. This is the new tool revealed that dozens of major MAGA, America First influencer accounts, Republicans against Trump accounts, some of them with hundreds of thousands of followers, millions of views, are in fact managed from countries like Russia, India, Nigeria, and Eastern Europe. The ripple effects for election integrity, content moderation, and the conservative movement's authenticity are enormous. To walk us through this right now, how we should interpret this, and what it means for the creator economy and politics, we bring in Michael Hout. He is a strategist and a columnist at townhall.com. Michael, welcome to the Wake Up America show. We're glad and grateful to have you here.
Thanks for having me back, Austin. Happy holidays to you.
You as well. So, Michael, let's start with the headline. So, dozens of prominent Patriot accounts exposed as foreign based. When you first saw the About This account reveal on X, what convergences or red flags did it confirm for you?
Well, that many of the even largest accounts influencing our politics, at least in terms of sensational videos and headlines and things like this, were based in countries ranging from Bangladesh and India to Nigeria to Serbia, frankly, I think most of us suspected that. And the headlines for a long time were that Russia and China, in particular, were influencing. But as we see, it's really a global phenomenon.
So how much do you think of this as engagement bait, where it's just foreigners trying to chase clicks and get rich, versus an actual coordinated influence campaign targeting U.S. politics?
Yeah, I think there's some of both. I mean, certainly there are these tremendously large, complex bot farms that we know exist, but there's also a huge financial incentive, especially for people living, in a place where the dollar is very strong, like places like South Asia and parts of Africa, that are able to create a revenue sharing once they hit the 5 million impression mark or whatever it is. And so there's a big financial incentive at the moment for people that are tech savvy in those countries to be able to kind of take advantage of that. Yeah.
$100,000 goes a lot farther in Nigeria than it does in Southern California, for example.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. Probably buy a pretty nice house there. Yeah.
So how damaging is this to credibility when large accounts claiming to be U.S. patriots turn out to be overseas for creators, influencers, media in our sphere of operations, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge impact on credibility, and it's still slightly opaque for some of them because they use VPNs and things like that, although you can see when they are. Like Jackson Hinkle, I think it says Burkina Faso. I don't think we actually think he's in Burkina Faso, but we know he's probably not in Miami, which is what it says on his profile. And so, it's a huge damage to credibility. I mean, especially when people are dishonest about it. I'm based in Warsaw, Poland, as you know, but I'm born and raised in America. And so I've always been upfront about that. And still, I'm getting a fair amount of criticism for being abroad. Stop trying to influence our politics. But
is that fair? American. Is that fair, Michael?
I think as long as I'm required to pay taxes, I mean, America is one of, I think, 2 countries in the world that requires citizenship-based taxation, which Trump actually talked about on the campaign about trying to end that, but it's still in place. I have to file my taxes every year. I'm still invested in the stock market. I've got 2 American kids with American passports that spend time in America, that celebrate the 4th of July, who will celebrate Thanksgiving this week in Poland. So I raised my kids as Americans, but also they're obviously Polish because my wife is. And
but do you think that do you think that does that, despite the fact you pay taxes, have American passports, American kids, do you think that your location, your proximity matters in regards to how Americans would view your politics?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly gives me a different perspective, and again, I think the important thing is that I'm upfront about that. I suspect that many people, like Hinkle, who I just mentioned, Ian Miles Chong, many others are dishonest about it. So I think that's where it's really a problem. But because I've never tried to hide that, people are free to interpret my politics and my biases and whatever as an American living abroad, however they like. But I'm still very much a proud American patriot. I'm here because my wife's from here. It's where life took us. But we hope to come back to the U.S. at some point.
Yeah, well, you can't change who you love. I get that. The question about the foreign influence campaigns in the United States, though, really hinges on how much of this may actually be deliberate, meant to hijack American politics. So what do you think it is that made the American right so vulnerable to these kinds of influence campaigns? And what part of this do you think comes from malign actors? Do you think, have we identified anybody who was deliberately subverting American politics and misrepresenting themselves. I'm seeing some faceless anonymous accounts, but have there been any accounts where we know that the person is now called out as a fraud?
Yeah, I mean, didn't Ian Miles Chong tweet that he had voted for Trump and all these things, and then his location says UAE, I think. Is that what it said?
I'm not sure. I always knew he was like Malaysian or for some South Asian. I never thought he was an American, and I didn't know that he had said that he voted for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
If so, that is a problem.
Yeah, so there's many examples of this. Many of them are these sort of faceless accounts, like what is one of them, conscious philosopher. It turns out he's more of a, perhaps unconscious Philistine. He's always tweeting about the Third Reich and all these things. But I think I think there's many people who've been kind of exposed, but it'll take some time to kind of figure it all out. But it's for the time being. It's made life hard for some of those people. They at least have to try to find some workarounds. So I think it's been good overall, for transparency.
So if foreign-based actors are inflating some of these U.S.-facing MAGA accounts, what do you think this means for election integrity, grassroots mobilization, the map of U.S. influence operations in 2026? Does this change a lot going into the midterms next year, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, you wonder, now that it's available to see, obviously people are free to go and look at that, but it's not like, when the person's tweet pops up, you see their location. You have to actually click on their profile and then click another step and know how to do that to find that information, right? And so these people still have the ability to influence our elections. Most of us are just scrolling tweets. We're not always clicking the person's profile and all these things. And so, perhaps we do need to take some further steps and try to figure this out. But, there's certainly a lot of incentive for people to try to manipulate our elections, both adversarially and for profit.
So there's an irony here. A platform that was launched to expand free speech became a weapons platform for foreign actors. So how should we think about the tension between like free speech absolutism and defending political authenticity? Because some people were complaining that, well, this doxes people and puts them potentially in danger. So talk to us about that.
Yeah, X gives you the option, I think, to change it to a region. Like if you're in a country with more censorship, I think you're able to change, like, for example, not that India, I think, has heavy censorship, but you could change it to South Asia or something like that to be more broad. So I think it's sufficiently private enough. Like, I think if you want to go on X and you want to have a big platform and you want to influence people, like, you owe people some transparency. And I've always done that, even when it wasn't sort of forced upon me, because I think that's the right thing to do. But yeah, I think Elon seemed to taken the approach that he wants a more or less free speech absolutist platform. Obviously, along with that comes a lot of not so great stuff, and I think we do probably need to look at, for example, people getting creator payouts for posting endless videos of Adolf Hitler speeches. I don't know that I love people are doing that as a career, or calling Brandon Tatum the N-word in a quote tweet and then getting $500 for that tweet or something. And so I think more so than the speech part, it's the monetization part that maybe needs a deeper conversation.
Yeah, I agree. I do think that people who have committed fraud certainly should not be earning money on that platform while they commit fraud, and it should it should absolutely be routed out. But in regards to actual government-sponsored influence campaigns, do you think that we'll ever know the extent to how much China, Russia, Nigeria, Pakistan, India, how much like some of this may have been actual state actors?
Yeah, probably not all of it, but hopefully that's something that the State Department or intelligence agencies maybe can try to look into. Trump just tweeted out, I think, that election integrity, something along these lines, should be our primary focus, right? And so along with that comes looking into these sorts of influence campaigns that not only are influencing our country, are probably influencing other Western countries' elections and populations as well.
For sure. Michael, is there anything about this story that stood out in particular that we haven't perhaps mentioned yet? Something that you think is important for our audience to know?
Yeah, I think I think it's been an interesting revelation to see many of the Groyper accounts on the sort of fringes of the right being international. It makes me wonder when people talk about Fuentes having a base of like 5 million viewers, all these things. It's like, how many of those people are U.S. voters, right? He talks with this this sort of these threats of like, we're going to stop Trump from winning the election. We're going to stop J.D. Vance if he doesn't capitulate to us. But how many of the people backing him are actually American citizens? I think that's we've learned a little about that this week.
No, for sure. Michael, is there anything else that you'd like to share or plug with our audience before we let you go today, sir?
Well, follow me at townhall.com. I write a column there, and on X at Michael J. Hout. And I hope all of your followers, you and your family, have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
There you go, Michael Hout. Thank you very much for your time today, Michael. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Have a great week.
Thank you.
And now for the last look. Across Europe, far-right populists are flourishing. In Hungary and Italy, they are in government, while in the UK, France, and Germany, they are leading in the polls. One country on the continent stands out as a glaring exception: Denmark. While many left-wing parties across the continent have weakened or collapsed, Denmark's center-left Social Democrats have held power for more than 6 years. One of the party's greatest strengths is a relentlessly strict focus on an issue often considered a traditional weakness of liberals: immigration. To understand how this happened, let's go back to 2015. This was when, amid the Syrian civil war and other conflicts, more than 1 million migrants arrived on the continent's shores. But the mass arrivals overwhelmed a post-World War II refugee system originally designed for far fewer numbers of people. The resulting crisis irrevocably reshaped Europe's politics. Denmark, a country with little history of large-scale immigration, responded with a much tougher approach than most countries. It made refugee status temporary, and in 2016, a controversial so-called jewelry law allowed police to seize valuables from asylum seekers worth more than $1,500 as payment toward their stay. But strikingly, when center-left leader Mette Frederiksen won power in 2019, she doubled down and pledged to reduce the number of asylum seekers to 0. Her government tightened family reunification rules. It also rehoused people living in what it called parallel societies, enclaves of mostly non-Western residents. Denmark also instituted different policies for different peoples, warmly welcoming Ukrainians fleeing Russia's invasion, while moving to make the legal status of Syrian refugees less secure. The results of these policies have been dramatic. Asylum applications in the country have fallen to a 40-year low. Polling shows that Danes are far happier about their government's approach to immigration than many other Europeans, including Swedes, Brits, Germans, and the French. This happiness about the country's hardline stance on immigration has been a resounding political success. Frederiksen's party remains by far the country's most popular one, despite losing ground in recent regional elections. Most notably, her stance has attracted working-class support and largely staved off the far-right populist threat of the Danish People's Party, which backs the deportation of thousands of legal immigrants. So why would a center-left government in one of the world's happiest welfare states impose some of Europe's strictest immigration rules? In a New York Times interview earlier this year, Frederiksen argued that her tough migration laws are to protect progressive ideals. Rapid, low-skilled migration, she says, disproportionately hurts Denmark's poorest by straining their access to benefits, housing, and schools. As Matthias Tesfaye, one of the key ministers behind the policies and the son of an Ethiopian refugee himself, put it to The Economist, the social democratic welfare state can only survive if we have migration under control. And crucially, in everything other than immigration, the Danish Social Democrats have stayed true to their roots, funding generous public services like healthcare and childcare, and maintaining strong worker protections. Now, other European countries are looking to emulate the Danish model. The UK's ruling Labour Party now cites Denmark as inspiration for its new tougher asylum laws, as it looks to fend off a very serious challenge from its far right. The broader lesson for left-of-center parties in the West is uncomfortable but unavoidable. More than 20 years ago, the author David Goodhart defined the problem in an influential essay for Prospect magazine. He wrote that there is a, quote, dilemma for progressives who want plenty of both solidarity, high social cohesion, and generous welfare paid out of a progressive tax system, and diversity, equal respect for a wide range of people, values, and ways of life. In that trade-off, Denmark's liberals appear to have chosen solidarity. And the hard truth for many Western liberals is this: many people do not see their nation purely as a set of laws and institutions, but instead as a bundle of emotions, identities, and shared values. Ignoring or dismissing these feelings will only make voters turn to the populists of the right, who will then handle the issue with even greater severity, indeed cruelty.
Oh, please, Fareed. He's warning those leftists. He's saying, if you want your if you want your welfare, if you want your free heroin needles, if you want to be able to snort fentanyl and drink crack-laced eggnog at Christmas, paid for out of SNAP benefits, you gotta fix the immigration system. At $98 raised, I feel like you guys want to see the bonus content. Do you guys want to see the bonus content? I will play it for you. But you got to give me $2. Or go to forlibertyshop.com like Cecilia did this morning. She got a Rosie the Riveter cutting board. Do you know how I know that there are no Rosie the Riveter cutting boards out there like ours? Because we designed it. We made it. And I'm so excited to hear what Cecilia thinks about her special email that she got. Check this out. If you go to forlibertyshop.com, you can see the stained glass Rosie the Riveter glass cutting board. And she got an email with a special message inside it. If you haven't made a purchase at forlibertyshop.com, if you haven't visited forlibertyshop.com in a while, it's time to take a little visit. She got the stained glass We Can Do It cutting board. We love our stained glass George Washington cutting board.
Oh my goodness gracious.
What could it be? What could it be, Stephanie? What could it be? This could be you. It could be.
I've been sending out signals to the...
She's been sending out smoke signals. What does it look like? What kind of cutting board could it be?
George Washington.
Is it? I don't know. What is it? What is it?
Mario, do you want the bubble wrap?
Oh my gosh.
Oh wow.
Give the Harley.
This is great.
It's
Look
George.
at that.
Beautiful.
Oh.
It's from forlibertyshop.com.
It is.
Beautiful.
And it's glass.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Wow, this is really...
Guys, did I marry the perfect woman or what? You know how many wives out there would love to get a George Washington glass cutting board? Now, not all women would love George Washington, but I think a lot of women would love Rosie the Riveter. Am I right about that, ladies? Wouldn't you like a Rosie the Riveter cutting board? But my wife, look at her sweet little face. Look at this sweet face. She loves the George Washington cutting board. She loves the founding fathers. I'm going to love Stephanie until the day that I die. Nothing will ever shake our unshakable bond. Look at her. Look how happy. Look at her face. Look at that beautiful. Look at her gorgeous red hair. She's got George Washington. That if your wife loves liberty, that could be your wife. Look at that. She loves it. And we've been using it every day. It's great quality. You can only get it at 4libertyshop.com. That's the number 4libertyshop.com. No show Thursday morning, Thanksgiving. We're taking the day off. Friday, we'll be back. It's Black Friday. We'll have some special deals for you at 4libertyshop.com. As you exit through the Griff Shop at 4libertyshop.com. Get that holiday shopping in early, guys. Remember, I want to make sure that you get your orders by Christmas so you can have your smoking hot redheaded libertarian wife smiling as well. We'll see you right back again here tomorrow, though. It's the Wake Up America show, and we're watching the 4 Liberty Network. Bye, guys.
Imagine bringing George Washington back to life. Just to explain that in 2025, men can get pregnant, waving an American flag might offend someone, and our government is $34 trillion in debt. But that's not all, George. We have drag queen story hour for toddlers. Pronouns are mandatory. And Harvard can't define woman. Oh. And we send billions to Ukraine but can't fix potholes in Ohio. You know, just normal modern empire stuff. I'm sure he'd be totally cool with it. Right after he finishes reloading. He didn't cross the Delaware for this nonsense, but you can carry on the fight with gear that would have made King George cry. Shop bold, shop free, shop 4libertyshop.com. Tired of spending your hard-earned money on woke corporations that don't share your pro-freedom values? Fed up with sipping liberal lattes and progressive cappuccinos? Introducing Founding Flavors from AP for Liberty Shop. Get your day started with Washington's Revolutionary Roast. As robust and principled as the man himself, this blend is the shot of energy heard round the world. Or maybe you want to taste the fervor of freedom with Adams's Patriotic Perk. It's as dynamic and balanced as the U.S. Constitution, sure to awaken your spirit of liberty. For the aficionados, we've got the Jeffersonian Java, a complex mix of flavors that speaks volumes about your refined tastes. And don't forget Betsy's Liberty Lullaby, our decaf option, crafted with the same care and dedication Betsy Ross put into our Star-Spangled Banner. This blend lets you enjoy the taste of freedom anytime without losing sleep. No woke beans here, folks. Just pure, patriotic, pro-freedom flavors brewed with love for liberty. So why compromise your principles for a cup of coffee? Stand up for your values, perk up your patriotism, and start your day the American way. Get your founding flavors at ap4libertyshop.com.
Were you exposed to hazardous materials while serving in the military?